Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. I'm your host, Chris Finn, and today I'm going to talk about an issue that golfers have. It just literally just came up with one of the clients that we have. He had emailed one of our newer therapists, and basically was saying that he had had some inside knee pain that had started. Had done a workout earlier that day. This is a gentleman who probably mid 50s, early 50s. Had just started getting into kind of the some of this early strength type of thing. So like squatting like 25 pounds with a goblet squat, right? Just literally just working on patterning. Obviously, we're working on some mobility stuff. There's limitations in the hips and shoulders and just some other rotary areas. And basically did the workout in the morning for the first time, kind of like a actual strength workout. Like I said, 25-pound goblet squats, nothing crazy, but more than more than he had been doing. And then from there, he went and he hit some balls, and basically later that night had some inside, or kind of the we call it medial or inside of the lead knee. He's a right-handed player, so left knee, the inside of his left knee was a little bit sore, having some discomfort. And so he emailed. He said, "Hey, I don't know if something happened, something went wrong. Like I'm not sure what to do here." So I think one of the cool things is that this is something that happens not just to one person. It happens to lots of people. But the cool thing is that it's totally fixable, and you can fix it yourself if this happens to you. So particularly when we're talking about the knee. So what I wanted to do is just kind of dive in real quickly here about this very localized issue that's actually super common, and why it happens, and how to identify like something really bad versus something like this, which is super easily fixed. So if you think about the presentation of the gentleman, he had very little hip internal rotation, meaning he can't get into his lead side. Okay. He doesn't really have a very high fitness age, meaning hasn't done tons of working out in the past, right? So he's brand new to working out. So we all know that the first couple of times you work out, your muscles get a little bit sore, right? So he's a little bit sore. He then goes and he hits golf balls. So now this is the important piece. We ask, well, okay, so what? He hit golf balls. Well, then you start asking a little bit deeper. You start digging deeper. How many balls did he hit? He hit a good amount. What surface was he hitting on? Well, he was hitting on mats. Well, then what footwear was he wearing? He was wearing spikes, right? Or shoes that have grips, right? So naturally, if you put that into a mat, the feet are not going to move nearly as much as if you're in grass, particularly this time of year where the grass is still dormant. I think there's not a lot of it. So your foot can rotate out. So particularly for somebody who has a lead hip internal rotation deficit, having a foot that's basically stuck in the ground you're going to have to get rotation somewhere. And now that foot is not an option. That foot spinning out is not an option. So now you have to move up the chain, and the knee is the next place that occurs, right? So naturally, what is your body going to do? It's going to try to use the muscles around the knee to try to control the knee. Right. So particularly speaking, your groin muscles, particularly the adductor magnus, which is one of your strongest hip internal rotators. So the muscles that actually fire your hips through the golf ball, where we know this gentleman has a limitation, as well as the inside of the quad. Right. So the vastus medialis, for any of you nerds out there. So, and those two muscles are already fatigued from a workout earlier in the day. And now we're hitting a bunch of golf balls with a restricted foot. It's not crazy to think, hey, those muscles may have had more work on them and load placed on them, demand placed on them than they've had in a very long time. So therefore, it's not unreasonable to say there's probably going to be some trigger points that develop just because of the nature of the muscles being used more. Now, I want to be clear, this is not a bad thing. The key is we need to know how to help those muscles recover so that he can wake up today and feel fine. And that is using soft tissue work with lacrosse balls or softballs. If you got somebody you can go to and you get dry needling or manual tissue release, that's great too. But we just need to get rid of the trigger points that have developed in the groin and in the medial part of the quad, is what maybe the VMO, vastus medialis oblique. If we can get rid of those trigger points, all of a sudden the knee pain goes away, right? And we're back to being good. And now the muscles have recovered. They got pushed to their limit. We help them recover. Oh, guess what? Now the body's going to get stronger. And now the next couple times that we go through a workout and he goes through and goes and hits golf balls, he can be able to do those things totally fine, particularly as the hip rotation continues to improve. there's going to be less and less stress placed on that knee, even if his foot is stuck on a mat, right? Because now the hip is going to actually clear, and so it won't go to the knee, right? The hip will actually do what it's supposed to do. So just if this strikes any amount of semblance or resemblance to you, sounds familiar, a couple things. Number one, if you're hitting off mats, wear some shoes, maybe like that don't have high profile spikes, maybe just either sneakers or like just kind of like the casual shoes. Like I've seen like the Jordans or the Air Force One kind of golf shoe that doesn't really have any grip on it, right? That shoe was going to be more likely to kind of slip a little bit on the mat to allow a little bit of foot rotation out, so your foot isn't totally locked in place. So that's one consideration you can do. Number two, that would be actually after the workout, and or maybe both, after you hit golf balls, understanding where you tend to get tight and where trigger points tend to develop. So for this gentleman, and if this sounds familiar, it's probably your quad. It could even be your calf, right? Your calf can refer up to, but for the simplicity of the short here, we're just going to say quad. We'll deal with the calf in another episode at some point. Like, then go after that area. Go with a softball or a lacrosse ball. Go and try to roll, pin and strip. And we have tons of videos on how to roll your quad or your vastus medialis or your adductors, your groin muscles. Just go to our YouTube at Par for Success or P4S Golf. You can see how to do all of those things, right? But so helping preemptively to recover, and I can tell you that's exactly what we're going to start to do for this gentleman, because now we know his area that tends to get tight. For others of you, it may be your back. So maybe you're preemptively going after the glutes and the psoas, right? And trying to release those areas to stay ahead of those, continuing to help those tissues be recovered and be okay. So it was such a cool kind of topic that came up, and it kind of spurred me to jump on and record this for you guys, because he's not alone. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of PTs, a lot of orthos, they'll see, he's got knee pain in his medial joint line. It's probably his meniscus or his MCL, and literally, guys, 9 times out of 10, like, unless you like, there's an immediate instant acutely where it's like, oh my God, my knee. That's not the case. It's going to be trigger points that are developing, and they can cause referral pain down to the joint lines. So hopefully that helps diffuse a few false beliefs. Hopefully that helps give you ticking time bombs to kind of take some action and start to take care of your tissue so that you can keep playing this game without pain. And hopefully you learned something today. So thanks as always for hanging out with me, and we'll catch you on the next episode.